Hey guys, welcome to the Cow Emporium. It's Annette. You might wonder what I'm doing with this string. Well, this is just regular household string, and today we're going to be using it to tie up some onions. Now, in this case, size doesn't really matter, but I just so happen to have about 6 feet of string. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cut ends together, and then on this other end, you got the loop because it's all one piece. You bring it up to the top, and then all I'm gonna do is tie a not so fancy knot in the top. Boop. And it leaves you with one loop where you can hang your string. So let's go do that. It just so happens that we have these hooks to hang planters on and such on our clothesline, and they make great stations to stand and tie your onions. So let's get started. So I'm going to take one of what looks to be like my bigger onions of what I want to tie in that batch. Okay, check it, make sure it's good. Now Glenn says, remember Cat's Cradle. Now if you don't know what Cat's Cradle is, I'm sorry, you're going to have to look it up. So I'm going to separate the strings so that they're 2 and 2, okay? Then I'm putting my finger here and I come up and I'm going to grab this, and then where my fingers are inside of here, look at that. Look how snazzy that is. So let's do that again. It's like rewind, only I'm doing it for you. Okay, I got my 2 sets of strings come down. I put my finger here. I come like this and I come down, and then I've got this. Okay, it's a basic loop, but guys, like I forget how to do this every year, and then I have to get Glenn to show me. So I'm sure there's somebody else out there like me that forgets. So you'll see how that is going to take the weight of all your other onions, and as your onions hang on this, it's going to just get tighter and tighter around the neck of this onion, so there'll be no hope in heck that it comes off on its own, okay? All right. When I'm going to be tying my onions, I want to take another look at them. I want to make sure that the tops are nice and dry, and that around the root base that there is no rot, or that the onion hasn't started to pull away from the root base. I'm going to take my scissors and just carefully trim off the last of the roots. You don't want to damage your onion. If something is willing to come off when you give it a little rub with your hands, then that's okay. That one's ready to go on. I wanted to bring this one over, show as an example of what's not ready. You can see that green top in the center still hasn't died back. So that's okay. We're gonna leave that one for just a little bit longer. Again, just giving it a gentle rub. You don't want to force anything off at this point because you could expose too much of your onion. The roots have already come off this. The tops are nice and dry. Again, we're just cleaning. Nice and crunchy tops. You don't want to wait too long on your tops, or when you go to tie them, the tops will just pop off. That happened to me last year. I had done such a good job drying my onions. Gonna get this one ready. This one, it kind of looks like it's separating, but I think it's just this peel has started to come back, that one layer, so that's okay. I can see that, I can feel and see that there's a little bit of soft top there still, but it's no longer green. And around the neck, it's nice and tight in there. It's shrunk. Same with this one here. It's nice and shrunk around the neck. You can tell it's good and dried out. In fact, I could tell right away that one wasn't going to have enough top on it, so that's okay. I expect to have a few of these where the tops just fall off, and I'm going to store those just in onion bags hanging in the garage. This one here, the top feels a little bit thick on it still, and this is why. When you look at it here, you can see that still got a piece of green in the top there. So that's how I check my onions to make sure that they're ready to tie up. So let's get tying. Now, I always say that the hardest part to getting onions ready to tie is just drying them. So, as I said before, there are 4 strings here. And so I'm just going to choose to go through a string. And I'm going to wrap that around under the onion. Pull it nice and tight. And then I'm going to go through another string. Down. I'm going to do it again. And then one more string. And I come back towards me. And give it a fairly firm tug down, but not so hard that I'm breaking the tops off. And then I'm going to clip the top off of it. And for good measure, I'm going to clip the top off of this one too, because it's only going to be a pain on the rear end if I don't. Okay, so your next one, you don't necessarily want to go through the same spot as you did before. So we're going to go through, wrap it around the onion, and then we're going back through. And honestly, guys, it doesn't really matter which of these strings you go through, as long as you don't like bunch up one string with too much onion. So if you spread it around a little bit, that's a good thing. Okay, I'm going to give it a little push down, make it nice and tight. Snip the top off, and we're on to the next one. Let's bring it back when I've got some more onions tied on there. Now it's at this point that you might be like, oh, this looks so cool. I think that we should do the whole braid. But I'm going to tell y'all right now, this gets heavy. Like, this is probably already 4 pounds worth of onions, you guys. So you want to make sure that you don't make this too heavy. Even though it is cool to look at, like, you're going to have to reinforce your ceiling or wherever you're hanging it. So again, I'm taking my top. I'm going to go through 2. And I'm going to wrap it around the onion. Press it down a little. And I'm going to take the top. I see it's starting to break a little, but I still got lots of top. And I'm going to go through a string. And I'm going to pull it down. And it broke off. So I'm going to call that good. So I don't think I'm going to add more than maybe about 1 more onion to this, because I know what it's like trying to hang these things. And Glenn warns me every time. He's like, it's okay if you do more of them and don't make them quite as big. Also, if you do happen to have an onion start to rot on these things, it spreads pretty quickly because you can see how close they are, right? So it's a good idea to keep an eye on these, because even though we've done all our checks and everything looks good right now, that doesn't mean that something can't happen and like a rot could start somewhere, and then that's just devastating to like lose that whole thing of onions just because of one bad onion. In this case, not an apple. All right, I think I'm going to call that good for that one. How beautiful, hey? So you guys, I thought I would just finish with this the cute little tricolor onion braid. And just remember, the last thing you're checking is, I know I get wrapped up in the tying bit, and then I sometimes forget that I want to cut the roots off. I just don't want any moisture or seeping out the roots, or also, you know, an opportunity for some bacteria to start forming there. If they're good and dry, it should be okay. But that's the last thing I'm going to do. And then these guys are going to get tied up for in the house in the garage, where it's no cooler than 55 Fahrenheit in our garage for the winter. And we have a radiant heater in there so we can turn it on. And of course it's a garage, so there's lots of airflow. So wherever you store your onions, you want to make sure that it's cool, but there's also lots of airflow. I expect to be still using my onions come June of 2023, because that's just what happens every year. They just seem to last that long. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and go get you some onions tied up. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.